That's my fancy Cadillac, and it needs a new brake line. I'll show you how she's done. So guys, you need yourself a set of side cutters, one of the two, and we'll cut those brake lines off. So there's the culprit. So you get a hold of the line and you snick her off, and after you get her like that, you go get yourself the socket and you fit on it. Make sure you get yourself a 6-point socket if you can. The 12-point sockets on an old rusty brake line kind of spin and then you're stuck with a real fight. So here's the battle, 6-point socket. Wait that on there. Oh, make sure you go the right way. And it'll bend and twist, but it'll come. There we go. Not too bad. So there's the other one. Get yourself your drill. The brake line is 1/4 inch. So get yourself a 1/4 inch drill bit and we drill it out. We put it on the vise that way. The little cut end on this side and our seat on this side, and we drill it out. So after you drill the pipe a little bit, there's the seat of the brake line. That one turns through, of course. That's fun. Get ourselves a pair of vice grips. Don't forget to tighten up your drill bit a little more. There she goes. Easy to pop out. So basically you take the little seat and you drill it out, and that's the piece that was the pipe that was left over. So you cut the pipe off with the drill instead of trying to pound it and get this flat that you cut off. And when you're left, you got this beautiful little leftover piece. Of course, the drill passed inside it, which makes it nice and clean and good to roll for a new line. There's my old brake line and the new roll of brake line. And I straighten out the old brake line and I'm gonna cut it off a couple inches longer than the old brake line. Got my little brake kit, flare tool, pipe cutter, and a little, I'd say wire bender, but tube bender, I guess is the right word. So, cut her off right about there. So our next step, we don't forget that little fella we put on, because if we do, well, it'll be hard to slide it in from the other end. And now we stick it in our little 1/4 inch, so I'm gonna bend the pipe a little bit to get her straight up. So when we stick it up, 3/8 of an inch, like a good guess, right? There. I always tighten up this end because it has a longer edge on this end, and of course it can tighten up better on the block. And we tighten it up. There. Good and tight. That's our little maker. So they're always a bugger to use a little bit, but we wind it all the way back. We slide it on our little block, and then we line it up in the hole. I always put my little brake tool in a vise. It's just easier to handle. And now we start to make that little flare. There's our little flare. Wind that little fella back. Come on there. We'll get a little bit of a closer view of that flare. There, see? So she's flared out really nice. So the next step, take a little piece of tape and put on the end of your brake line, because we're going to run it through that old Chevy truck And there might be some dirt down there when we try and feed it past the frame. That way it's nice and safe for the end. You don't want any dirt in your brake line system. Might surprise you if you put some in there. That's a good start. You know, I'd buy a hoist, but it doesn't pick up my excavator and my bobcat and all my farm tractors, and it would be in the way. But getting them darn brake lines fished in would be nice if I'd be on my feet. Yeah, maybe I could waste a few bucks and build a whole new garage just for fixing a truck brake line. Or I could send it to the garage and let them just do it, and I pay them like 300 bucks or whatever it is. So we got her fished in the right spot. Now I'm gonna put a good 90 bend on that. So I'm gonna go grab that little tube bender and give her a bend so she sits in there somewhere. So I can't see. So there's that fancy little bend I did, and I gotta run it around and stick it in that hole way over there somewheres. I'll show you how to bend that line a nice tight radius like that with that tool. But I'll pick an old garbage line to bend because I need like 5 hands and 3 different pieces and 2 people and everything else to hold it. So guys, after you get your brake line tightened up, put the brake line back in its clips. It really helps for vibrations when you're flying down the road, and you don't want to change the brake line again in a month because it wore out. So here's how this little toy works. It's kind of nice. So you see this little hook? You put the brake line in there, okay? And you make sure your handle is open, because he closes, okay? So we hook the brake line. There's 3 different sizes on this one. Ours is the little one, the 1/4 inch line. So we hook the hook, and then we close our little arm on it. Okay? I'll go over here a little more. And then we just push around, and it'll run all the way around depending on how much angle you want. And then you open this arm again. Now, because it's a full 90, it's just tight around here. So you just flex it a little bit, and you can pull out your little tool again. No kink. They're real handy. I think they're like a $10 tool, so get one if you're gonna play this game. For 10 bucks, throw it on the shelf and you'll use it for the rest of your life. So now I want to make a little brake line protector. So I get some old fuel line. If you put your thumbs together, you can cut the line, okay? Don't try it like this because you'll gash yourself. Put your thumbs together. It's kind of a good, you know, protection, and you just walk your hand together and you cut the line. See how gentle? And then you move a little bit and move a little bit. There you go. So after you cut the line, you can slide it over top of the brake line. So you have a little piece, you cut it again, and then you open it like so, and you put it over top of the brake line. And then you use a zip tie, and you can fasten it to the truck frame, because this brake line runs over top of the gas tank, and I just cannot get my hand in there. So I'm gonna fasten it on the inside of the frame. I'll show you in a minute. Well, there's a spot. You reach in on the line, put the little tube around it. See there? Come on there, get on. There, so, and then I fasten, I'm gonna push the line up to the frame here and run a zip tie around it and get it tight. So it's a way to protect it. So there's our game. We tighten up the clips and the little rubbers to make sure the line don't rub on the frame. Run it right to the back. So, my friend here forgot to tell me to pick up brake fluid when I picked up that brake line. So instead of being this cool country boy driving around in his little Chevy pickup truck, we're gonna have to go take the minivan. Lucy, you wanna go for a ride in the minivan? Okay, we'll go for a ride in the minivan.